Hello, everyone. It's Walkill Bethelite here. Let's talk a little bit about constitutionally protected rights. Now, here in America, we have the right to bear arms, right? We would all agree that in America, there is the right to bear arms. However, we don't have the right to aim those weapons at people in a threatening manner. We don't have the right to just do whatever we want with the gun. We can have one, but we can't just do anything with it, right? Freedom of speech. In America, we have freedom of speech. We can talk about pretty much any topic. We can say what we want, right? But we can't use our speech to directly state we're going to do something to someone. For example, you can say anything you want, but you can't go over and tell someone that you're going to harm them, for example, right? So far you see a pattern. Constitutionally protected right up to a point. Freedom to bear arms. You can't just go around pointing them at people. You can't bring them in schools. You can't do stuff like that, right? There's some common sense restrictions. Freedom of speech. Talk about pretty much anything you want. You can't directly name someone and state you're going to do X, Y, Z to that person, right? Freedom of speech up to a point. In America, we have freedom of religion. You have the right to believe what you want to believe. You have the right to assemble together to worship. Those are all constitutionally protected rights. Jehovah's Witnesses, however, go beyond what those rights should protect. Jehovah's Witnesses threaten death, destruction, and Armageddon on anybody who does not want to follow their religion. Keep in mind, we use common sense with our right to bear arms. We use common sense with our freedom of speech. Ought we not to use common sense with our freedom of religion? You're allowed to go and worship. You're allowed to believe what you want, but you can't go out threatening people, calling them apostates, or any other derogatory term which means you're saying this person is going to get killed. Jehovah's Witnesses, when they categorize a person as apostate, they're categorizing them essentially as enemies of God. They're stating this is a person who is going to be murdered by God, essentially. And it's not the same as the Catholic belief about hellfire. After you die of probably, let's say, natural causes, well, then there's going to be a judgment, and then you might go to heaven or hell. No, with the Jehovah's Witnesses, it is an immediate threat. They believe any day now, not after you die, God is going to come out of the sky with all kind of weaponry and horses and bow and arrow and slingshot and start beating the crap out of people, right? Killing them. They believe imminently God is about to kill everyone who is not a Jehovah's Witness. That's why they always say the end of the world is around the corner. In their mind, just around the corner, just a little while longer. And everybody that don't believe like me is going to get murdered, going to get destroyed. Well, that definitely puts people under duress who do not want to be a part of the religion. Think about a relationship. If a woman doesn't want to be with a man anymore, and that man goes on and on about how if someone were to leave him in a relationship, he would probably kill them. If any woman were to leave him that he was married to, let's say, and try to take the kids or whatever, if he's verbally stating this, he didn't just flat out say, I'm going to, he's stating in this specific situation, your life is in imminent danger. If you do something I don't want, such as leave the relationship, that ought to get reported to the police. That ought to get reported. So for a Jehovah's Witness, governing body, elder, ministerial servant, publication, magazine, something you see on jw.cult, if you see something directly threatening you, stating if you do not come back to their religion, you are going to die any day now, that's obviously putting people under fear, stress. There's people that I have heard of who have left the Jehovah's Witnesses, who end up going back. Why? Because they keep waking up in the middle of the night in cold sweats, thinking any day now Armageddon is going to come just like they said, and I'm going to get killed just like they said. And eventually they end up going back to that cult because the cult coerced them under fear of death. I guarantee you, from here on out, any articles you see threatening Armageddon, any talks, any direct threats to you, anything on their website, if it is directly threatening death to anybody who leaves the religion, the people who have already left, or for the people who have family members that's left that they talk to, anything else that I see that's threatening death, I'm reporting it. I'm reporting it. I think that people don't do that enough. People just assume that all these other constitutionally protected rights are protected up to a point, except for religion, and religion can just go buck wild. Religion can just threaten whoever they want. Religion can tell your family not to speak to you, right? No, because to these people, these are very real threats. They believe in this religion. So they really believe what Watchtower is telling them, that they're going to get killed if they try to leave. That can't be legal. That cannot be legal. This religion is going to have to change. It's going to have to be more mainstream, where they can preach things from the Bible, but they cannot pinpoint particularly People who leave their religion and say they're going to get killed, say they're going to get murdered any day now. In Armageddon, they can't do that. They cannot pinpoint you and say you're going to end up getting destroyed because you don't listen to them. That is a threat. We live in America. We know religion is real to a lot of people. So that is a real threat. If someone said that they were going to hit you with a baseball bat, even if you have not seen the bat, you would report them. If a religion is using God to issue death threats, even though we have not seen God, we should still report them because the fear is the same. There's no difference. There's no difference in the fear a person has if someone says they're going to attack them with a knife. They haven't seen the knife. The person that pulled out a knife. But that person is in fear now because they've been threatened with bodily harm, imminent bodily harm. Jehovah's Witnesses threaten imminent destruction, imminent death, and directed at you in specific. And there is no way that should be legal. There's no way. The only thing I can think of is, all the times that I've heard it, I've just gotten so used to it that I never thought to start reporting this stuff. Nobody should be allowed to threaten you imminently. Nobody should be allowed to, any day now you're about to die. That ought not be legal. So you guys can assist me with this. If you guys see any recent articles where Watchtower is threatening people with death at Armageddon if they don't do what they say, if they leave their religion, if they speak to someone Watchtower tells them not to speak to, by all means, let me know so I can find the article and then I can start compiling this stuff and start reporting Jehovah's Witnesses as a hate group. Because I've done videos in the past where I speak like they do. I just do it in reverse, and I speak about Jehovah's Witnesses the way they speak about people they call worldly and apostates and everything else. Then there's a problem. Then all of a sudden there's an issue. Then there's a problem if I start speaking the way Jehovah's Witnesses speak, but I direct it at them, then there's a problem. Well, the reverse must also be true. It has to be a problem when they do. So from here on out, there should be no other former member of that religion threatened with Armageddon, threatened with death, threatened with their own family not speaking to them and things like that. There's a difference if a relative of yours unfortunately decides they just don't want to speak to you, right? It's hard. It's hard to, you can't force people, right? But if you have a situation where a religion does something called disfellowship, separate you from your family, that's different. That's not just that family member up and deciding they're not going to speak to you anymore. That's a religion that people believe when this religion says God is going to destroy everybody that don't listen to them. That's that religion telling your relative under the threat of death, do not speak to this person anymore. There's no way that's legal. There's no way. I just think it hadn't been reported that much. A lot of us in the XJW community, we speak amongst each other about these things. We don't report them to the authorities. I'm reporting it. Watch me report it. I just want to have the physical proof. I want to have the actual article. I want to have the actual clip from an assembly. You know what I mean? It don't even have to be like dated far back. Anywhere recent where I can start reporting all this stuff. And if I can get documents back to show that I've reported it, I'll show you guys. Yeah, we need to start reporting this. These people cannot treat us any old kind of way. We shouldn't be getting separated from our families. Because think about the people who, let's say, commit murder, right? A person commits a murder and they separate loved ones from their family member by killing that person. Well, what happens to that individual who committed that murder? Well, in the majority of states, that's life in prison. There is a punishment for separating people from their families in that manner. And this is if a person does that to one person. If somebody takes someone's family away from them and that's the only person that they've ever done that to, right? They get sentenced. You got all these people, these mass shooters now. And I hate that this Cremo guy, whatever, the weird looking one, that they're making all these videos about him, talking about his rap career, talking about all this. You're doing what he would want you to do. You're giving him all this attention and you're encouraging the next person. That's neither here nor there. I think the dude's name is Robert, but they keep calling him Cremo. It just, to me, looks like they're glorifying the guy. That's neither here nor there. My point is we don't like mass shooters because they take people's families away from them. They're going into these large crowds, firing into these large crowds, taking who knows what, 9, 10, maybe even 19 family members away from people by killing them. We don't like that. That is prosecuted in criminal court. But how many people have Jehovah's Witnesses taken away from their family? Give me a number. How many people do you think, how many family members do you think Jehovah's Witnesses, specifically that religion, has taken away from others? You getting into the hundreds of the thousands, right? We have a religion who has literally taken probably hundreds of thousands of people's families away from them, and yet we don't do anything. Whereas a mass shooter, they go take 9 people's families away from them, and that's prosecutable, right? This burglar, broke in someone's house and one person ended up getting removed, taken from their family. Life for them also. Jehovah's Witnesses, they take 100,000 people's families away from them. Well, we just let them do it. No, I don't believe that freedom of religion is just unbridled without even any common sense restrictions. You can believe what you want, but you can't go threatening people that they're going to die. Right? If I go and threaten and say I'm about to go put a curse on somebody, and I live in a society where people believe curses are real, then I just put a real threat in their mind. They're under the same amount of stress, duress, and fear as anybody would be under any kind of threat. And threats are not legal. Why did Jehovah's Witnesses get to do it then? I'd love to sit and talk to a lawyer and have him explain why it's okay to threaten people with death, as long as it's, a person who has a specific religion, right? If I have a specific religion, that means I can just go out and threaten all these people and tell them, you better listen to me or you're going to die, right? I can talk to God or something, and he's going to kill you tomorrow if you don't listen to me. This is legal? I can go out and do that? No, that's at the least harassment. At the very least, when Watchtower was having those assemblies recently, talking about, I think, apostates, us, talking about us, at the least, that's harassment. And I'm going to start reporting it. So comment down below, let me know what you think. And a lot of us just give up. A lot of us are like, it's 444 behind me, if you can see that. So that's the universe saying, yes, let's start reporting all this stuff. But a lot of us think, nobody's going to do anything. How do we know? It's wrong. How many people have the Catholic Church? Let's start from the time that Jehovah's Witnesses came into existence. Let's make it fair. Let's not go back 2,000 years. How many people have the Catholic Church? How many families have they taken away from people? Give me a number. Baptist Church. How many families has the Baptist Church taken away from people? Give me a number. How about the Pentecostals? Right? How many families have they taken away from people? Right? Very few. These religions aren't taking people's families away from them currently, right? They're not doing it. And if in some crazy church somewhere it did happen, it's rare. With Jehovah's Witnesses, how many families have they taken away from people by force? Right? Is death not force? Is religion not real in people's minds? So if they use their very real, in everybody's mind, religion to threaten death, don't you think people would act under duress? Yeah, so religion should not be allowed to threaten people. Gun owners are not allowed to threaten people. Freedom of speech, using your speech, you're not allowed to threaten people. Unless you're religious, and then it's okay for you to threaten people. No, there's no way that's true. There's no way that's true. And if it is true, I want to hear it myself after I make the report. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite, Jehovah's Witnesses are going to be getting reported as soon as I find anything threatening. You go worship all you want. You can go believe in a spaghetti monster for all I care. All you want. The minute I find something else threatening death, if you don't listen to Watchtower and obey us and stay in our religion, it's getting reported. 937-789-4029. We'll discuss it. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite signing out.